there. I'm Phil Ahern, the music instructor, and I've put together a welcome video which consists of these 6 slides, PowerPoint slides, and I'll be talking during them. And the whole point of this video really is to establish some contact between you all and me, personal contact. You get the chance here to see what I look like and hear me talk a little bit. Before online teaching became as popular as it is now, before even the COVID-19 has forced us to do most everything online, I used to teach in the classroom here at UH downtown, and I did a lot of talking, and I played the piano every class. And it's quite different now. I mean, you won't see a whole lot of me after these videos at the beginning of the semester because I don't have any Zoom meetings. I don't have any what we call asynchronous meetings. It's just basically a matter of I got a bunch of questions on the blackboard, and you answer the questions after reading the textbook and listening to the music, and we take quizzes and tests, and that's it. Now, anyway, now you know what I look like and what I sound like. I'm trying to point out here on the first slide that there are 3 folders that I hope you'll become familiar with at the beginning of the semester. You'll be with us all semester long. The video recordings are something that I want you to watch them at the beginning of the semester, but then we'll move on to other things. However, the calendar and the ebook will be with us all semester long, of course, because the calendar has got all the assignments in it and all the quiz and test dates from now until the end of the semester. And of course, the ebook is our textbook. Well, this slide continues on from the previous slide, in which I was talking about those 3 important folders. And we're looking at the home page right now, the home page of the Blackboard for Music 2302. And if you've used Blackboard before in other courses, you're not going to be too surprised by what I'm about to say, but if you're new to Blackboard, it might not be immediately obvious that those words in the left-hand column, those are links to different folders. You know, I was mentioning the 3 important folders in the previous slide: video recordings, calendar, and ebook. Those are in the left-hand column there. And I'm just trying to make sure everyone realizes that you can click on those things. You know, again, starting towards the top of the column, Music 2301 homepage, you can click on that. You can click on video recordings, calendar, ebook, supplement, special quizzes, practice quizzes, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to make sure everyone realizes those are links. Last year in the Blackboard, those things looked like buttons. So they were obviously links. They were blue buttons, but you can't have blue buttons anymore. They've changed the layout. So I'll say no more about that. Here I'm just trying to give a general idea so you know what to expect, what kind of music we're going to be listening to this semester. It's all could be considered classical music, whatever that means. And that's a whole subject in itself to try to define what that means. Classical music, back in the days when record stores were more important and more people, a lot of us would go to the record store and we might wander into the classical music section. The people that ran the record store, they knew what classical music was, but I never asked anybody to make a definition of it. In any case, it's a big category of music, and inside or within the category of classical music in general, There was a small period you can see on my page here, classical period from 1750 to 1820, approximately. And that was followed by the Romantic period, approximately 1820 to 1900. In many ways, the Romantic period was the whole century from 1800 to 1900. 20th century modernism, towards the beginning of the 20th century, the music tended to be more difficult to listen to. It was, frankly, it could be kind of weird. And a lot of the audience turned away. People still loved the old classical and romantic uh, hits and from before. I mean, we're talking about Bach and Handel, Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Grieg, Franz Liszt. Those were still popular, but the music at the beginning of the 20th century didn't have quite the audience. But then in the middle of the 20th century, somewhere in the middle, a number of composers were turning back to more traditional sounds, and the audience started to get big again. So these are a few of the famous names from that you'll be. Well, actually, we won't hear all of these people. There wasn't time to include them all, but the names towards the top are the more familiar with names like Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, Tchaikovsky, Verdi, and Puccini, those last two opera composers. In the middle are names that are not quite so well known. We will hear music by Schoenberg and Stravinsky this semester, but we won't actually hear anything by Barrett, Webern, Boulez, or Stockhausen. And then on the bottom there is a category of composers that have turned back toward more traditional sounds. And finally, there we do have one woman composer. Higdon is Jennifer Higdon, and I think you'll find her music is very beautiful. We will hear Higdon and Adams, but not the other people on that list there. Oh, this is the next to last slide, and as part of my campaign to let you know who I am, you might be wondering if this music teacher, Phil Henry, can play any instrument or sing or anything. You know, I can play the piano, and these are not the greatest examples of, but in a folder on your blackboard, our blackboard called Video Recordings Phil Ahern Music, I threw together 3 videos. I'm going to make some better ones. The sound quality is terrible on these 3 videos with me playing the piano, but at least you get an idea of what it sounds like when I play the piano. And I can go on and on about that, since I spend a great deal of my life as a musician. Playing, by the way, in not always classical music sometimes, but I played in rock bands and jazz bands, and I could go on and on about these things. But I'm trying not to be too talkative. But you might be up in Chicago. I played we had a band for a while called the Oops. No one's ever heard of it, the Oops. We didn't become famous, but that was fun. And my last slide here, I'm pointing out that I have a master's degree in music from the University of Illinois, and actually the degree was, or I specialized in music composition. So I've written a lot of compositions over the years, but my 2 that I'm particularly proud of, 2 compositions. One is the song for Susan, and the other one is the wedding song for Elizabeth and Kyle. Susan was my wife, who passed away in 2011, and I wrote the song for Susan a long time ago. But and by the way, the song for Susan doesn't have any words. It's not for singing. It never was. The same thing is true about the song for Elizabeth, my daughter. I never did put words to it or sang it, but both of them were really songs that I played on the piano. But the song for Susan, when after my wife died in 2011, I expanded it into a longer piece of composition for woodwind instruments. In 2012, the woodwind quintet, consists of a flute, clarinet, not forgetting a flute, clarinet, bassoon, oboe. That's the one I almost forgot. Oboe and horn, a French horn, even though a horn is really a brass instrument, but it often, when you have a woodwind quintet, the horn plays along with these woodwinds. And then a wedding song for Elizabeth. When Elizabeth got married in 2019 to Kyle, I took the song for Elizabeth that I thought of it a long time ago again when Elizabeth was just, say, 4 or 5 years old, I think. And I expanded that into a real composition, a musical composition played by violin, viola, and cello, and piano. I played the piano part on it at the wedding, but we never made a real recording in a recording studio. All I have is a rehearsal recording, which again I'm not totally happy with, but that's all. After the COVID-19 period goes away, the COVID-19 virus, we're going to get together and really make a real recording of it. Well, I'll say no more. It's nice to meet you. I'll talk with you later.